Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas. We are on the Extra Time segment. Craig Burley is here.
Now, did you get the half and half scarf?
Oh, yeah, of course. You said you were going to get one, Sid, for the final.
Yeah, certainly did. Got an England-Spain half and half scarf, yep.
Did you get some abuse because of it?
Yes, I did, and I fully expected it, and I'm fully prepared to take it. I think one of the problems with the thing about half and half scarf is that people assume that this is about you deciding that you can support both teams, and I suppose in a way I sort of was saying that, but it's more just about having a memento from the game and saying, hey, these are my two countries. Also, I should point out, I've never really had a problem with half and half scarf. What I have a problem with is the half and half scarf from really rubbish games. Like, I mean, it's, you know, if you go to a Champions League final and you know, you want a momentum from the game and you've got a scarf that's got the date of the game on it, it's got both teams on it, there's a bit of me that thinks, all right, fair enough. But if you're watching Rochdale against Darlington, right, there's no need for a half and half scarf. There really isn't.
You could have said Rio Oviedo against anyone. You don't know why you want to bring in Rochdale against Darlington.
I know.
No, because if it was Real Oviedo against anyone, I just wouldn't want the other half. At all.
I mean, you don't realise now the amount of hate mail we're going to get from Rochdale.
Well, Mark Ogden leading the pair. So, where did you watch the final, Nedum?
Yeah, I watched it in my house that's in the borough of Rochdale, yeah. Quite an occasion, yeah.
That's a very fresh-faced photo over your right-hand shoulder.
I know, not nice. There.
What age were you there? Right.
Yeah. I think I was about 35, 36 at the time. Yeah. Not much has changed.
No, the other shoulder, Nedum, the one with the silverware.
The one with the is that I might get the opposite in the camera?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No, that's the. The joke is that's the last thing I won. I was around 12 years old.
Oh, no, Nedum.
It's always nice that the producers has put that one up, yeah. Appreciate it, yeah.
I wouldn't have thought
beat me to it.
I wouldn't have thought we would have started Extra Time with somebody who's actually got angry at scarves.
Well, yeah. Well, he's not angry at scarves. He didn't mind it. He's angry at Rochdale. Rochdale is a lovely place in the north. How would you describe Rochdale, Nedum, to the audience who have never heard of it?
Well, it depends which part of Rochdale you live in. The part which I genuinely live in the borough of Rochdale, is quite nice.
Right.
There are other parts which is very much salt of the earth. Really good people who might get a half and half scarf for their game against Darlington, which is perfectly fine.
Can I ask a question he said before? Can I ask a question he said before? Because I know but I'm intrigued. What's the reaction? Oh, we're there. What's the reaction been in Spain said in terms of the manager, the coach, De La Fuente? Is he getting the credit he deserves, or is it kind of this is a brilliant group of players and they were fantastic, or has he been hailed as somebody that has done a great job?
No, he absolutely is getting the credit that he deserves, because although there's been a huge amount of affection and fondness for the players and a real sense of those players demonstrating a level that probably a lot of people didn't anticipate from them, I think that the focus has been that De La Fuente has got these performances out of them, that he's had the willingness to play Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams every game and open the wings up and really go for teams, that he's got a better performance out of Fabian, for example, than anyone anticipated, that he supported Laporte despite Laporte going to Saudi Arabia and a lot of people thinking that he wouldn't be fully fit. And also, I think underlying it all is a little hint of guilt. And I think there's a little hint of guilt because when Luis de la Fuente took over, there were a lot of people in Spain who thought, really? Is this the guy we want running the Spain national team? Someone who only really had one managerial stint at kind of senior level, and that was with Alaves, 11 games in Spain's third tier. So there was a lot of doubt around him. And although he had a successful record as under-19s manager, European champion, as under-21s manager for the Spanish national team, European champion as well. Of course, those successes were seen as systemic successes. Spain's youth teams win tournaments. And so the fact that it was him wasn't really credited to him. This time, it has been credited to him. Yes, as I say, there's an underlying current of guilt, But above all, there's a celebration of this guy that did far better than anyone anticipated.
Nedum, when you made it, was it the Euros final that was it under 21 made it to?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. That's exactly
Who was the coach then?
Losing to a Germany side with 1 or 2 future stars in it.
Yep.
It was Stuart Pearce. It
so that
wasn't our best effort, let's say that.
Right.
We can. But he did end up managing England, so.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, he did. Took them to the Olympics. Stuart Pearce. What does Sid make of the Euro situation, and how frustrated will Real Madrid be with him reportedly joining Manchester United, Sid?
Well, I mean, there'll be a frustration because this was a guy that they thought they were going to get. Because, of course, the nature of Real Madrid is that when you go for a player, it's rare that that player decides not to join you. I think there'll be a degree of frustration because I think they recognise that they actually do need a central defender. Of course, last year, David Alaba was injured for the most of the season. Nacho, who's moved on. Rudiger had a fantastic year last year, better than anyone anticipated. Militao is now back from a very serious knee injury, but you still need another central defender. So I think there is a degree of frustration. I don't think... how do I put this? I don't think it's panic, and I don't think it's huge disappointment, because the truth is that most people in Spain hadn't really seen him play, and that if he is a player that turns down Real Madrid, then there's a feeling, well, we'll find someone else. But it is a problem. It is a problem for them.
Meanwhile, Kyle Walker was named in the team of the tournament. Should he have been, Nedum?
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, I know. So, Kyle Walker, ahead of Dani Carvajal, was chosen as the right back of the tournament, according to UEFA or whoever did this starting 11. Should he have been picked ahead of Carvajal?
With all due respect, like, Kyle Walker's been a great servant for England. For
You can just say no.
Like, that pick to me makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Because I think Kyle himself would admit that he didn't have the best of tournaments. So yeah, I think that they've absolutely blundered that one. So yeah, I'm not on board with that, unfortunately.
Dani Carvajal, Ballon d'Or, Sid.
Well, I mean, if you take his credentials over the course of the year, he's a pretty good candidate. He's a European champion at club and country level. I know it was last year, but the very back end of last year, of course, he begins this, if you like, this 12 or 13 month cycle with the winning penalty in the Nations League final. He's been consistently brilliant all year. This was his first Euros, by the way, because he'd been twice forced out of the Euros with injury and not being able to play them. So there's a real sense, I think, of a kind of symbolic thing there. That said, it's pretty unlikely that a right back is going to win the Ballon d'Or, and obviously within this Spain team there are stronger candidates. I think Rodri is the obvious example, and amongst his Real Madrid team I think probably both Bellingham and Vinicius are stronger candidates than him. But I don't think it's a bad shout if we look at this as, okay, it's not who is the best player in the world, it's kind of player of the year, or who's had the most decisive impact or the biggest impact in the most successful teams. And in that case, he makes a pretty good case. Certainly, I would say a slightly better case than Kyle Walker does for inclusion in the team of the tournament.
Yeah.
Best fullback. He's the best right back in the planet for me.
Yeah.
I'm having a bit of a love-in with Dani Carvajal.
You love Dani Carvajal.
I do. I tell you why I love Dani Carvajal. He's not the tallest, but yet he still manages to defend the back post, which I've heard managers say before, oh, he can't defend the back post, he's only 5 foot, whatever he is. He works his way around it. He has all the tricks in the trade of putting wingers and wide players and forwards off their game when he's defending. He's a great one-on-one defender, but that's not all he can do. He's also terrific going forward. When you think about that pass he played in the final for the first goal with the outside of the boot, he is what people, and I'm not, but, when people talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold, there are many, many others, about good going forward, not good defensively. Good one, Aaron Wan-Bissaka at Manchester United. Pretty good defender, one-on-one, lacks something in his game going forward. Dani Carvajal, for a long time, has had the ability to do it all. And I don't think, I've always thought Kyle Walker is a great defender, but it's generally a lot, he's got better, but it's about pace. Dani Carvajal is just about thinking. thinking about the position, how to play it. If you're looking as a youngster how to play the full-back position, he's one of the ones I think you get a tape of and say, watch this guy. That's how good he is.
Yeah.
But going back to this UEFA team, I don't know who picks this nonsense, just briefly. I actually thought, and Sid brought him up, he wasn't in the team. I don't know who it was. It might have been John Stones and Akanji from Switzerland. I actually thought Laporte was arguably the best defender in the tournament, but didn't make the team. But I thought he, as Sid said, he superseded all the expectations, not because he's not a good player, but because he was seen to be playing in Saudi Arabia, where the guys that were playing in that part of the world, it wasn't possible for them to step up or step back into the big boys' arena. But they did, most of them did. And I thought he was brilliant.
Sid, how did it feel watching Spain win the Euros? Against your other team, England, obviously.
Oh, you mean from an emotional point of view? I mean, it was quite enjoyable, to be honest. I think they're the best team of the tournament. Obviously, they were the team I was following all the way through it. I went into the final aware of, I'm English and fundamentally I'm going to want England to win, particularly that sense of the possibility of seeing them do something that everybody's waiting such a long time for. But the nature of the game, the fact as well that you're working changes, I think, your relationship with the game. So I think when Spain won, I mean, it's a cliche. I know it's a cliche and I know a lot of people will be saying, rubbish. But I was genuinely in a position where I sort of couldn't lose because it was going to be a team I was very fond of that won it, whoever won it. And so when Spain did, I was disappointed in the sense that I would have really liked England to have win the European Championships, but it was I was pleased for people that I'd been following for 4.5 weeks, and in fact 4.5 weeks, and of course going back 20 odd years.
Who did Charlie want to win, Sid?
England.
Charlie Sid's son, who
Yeah,
was born in, he's born in
about
Spain
than I
though.
was.
He's fully Spanish, born in Spain, yeah, but he obviously decides to suffer.
Yeah, he's chosen a ridiculous path, choosing England there, and Real Oviedo, good choice, son.
Oh no!
They've got to change that song though, haven't they?
What, Real Oviedo?
Well, them as well. It's coming home.
Well,
It's
yeah.
come.
Yeah,
I mean, just for God's sake, it's not.
I think
One, it's not the home, and two, it ain't coming home.
it's interesting, Nedum, how
Go to Rochdale.
It's interesting, Nedum, how you seem to attract negative questions. Kevin De Bruyne, Foden, Walker, Bernardo Silva all had poor performances this Euros. Why do they struggle outside of Guardiola's system?
Yeah, you're right. I do seem to get the stinging ones. I don't think Bernardo Silva was that bad, was he? I think KDB's Belgium were particularly bad. There were times where KDB looked good.
They didn't look that good. They didn't look anywhere like they were in a Manchester City shirt.
I think some. Hey, relax, you. Stop it, Dan Thomas. But anyway, I was saying, I think in regards to this tournament, obviously people had issues with the quality and all that stuff, but for some of these guys, they're finishing these games in July, and their season started a year ago. I think for some of those players that you mentioned, obviously except KDB, they're talking like 60, 70 games of football. Come the end of it, they are doing their best, but now the arena is different. It's a tournament environment. He's going up against teams who are doing everything they can to sort of stifle.
Didn't Rodri play a few games as well, Nedum? What about your boy Rodri?
At times he would be in a Premier League season. Yeah, and he was tired. He was tired as well. He said he was tired a few months ago. He had a one-game break. Do you not remember that?
Oh, he had a moan up about that.
You see, that's the difference. Bernardo Silva made a steal, mate. Yeah, made a steal, you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know what it is. Every system's different. But I think when it comes down to club football, international football, it's completely different. Because for club sides, they're literally bringing in players to fit into a system. Whereas for a national team, these are the players you have, and you have to find a system that suits them all. And as we've seen, historically, it's not necessarily that simple, is it?
Right, final question, which is simple, Craig. Start, bench or drop these three defensive midfielders in their prime. Busquets, Rodri and N'Golo Kante.
So I'm dropping, as good as he has been, I'm dropping N'Golo Kante. I'm benching, and as you know, I'm a huge fan of this guy, but for the time being, I'm benching Rodri.
Yep.
And Sergio Busquets in his prime in that Barcelona and that Spain team was just different gravy.
Yep.
that's the way I would go. But you know, I think N'Golo Kante's a great player, but I do think at this moment in time, Rodri is not only Manchester City's best player, but he's Spain's best player. But for me, it's going to take some to overhaul what Sergio Busquets did for club and country.
Do you concur, Nedum?
Because it says defensive midfielders, yes, because you can make a case that like Rodri and Kante at times have been more attacking than Busquets was. I think when you see the amount of goals that Rodri scored on a season basis, then I think if he was going to be someone that's just a general midfielder, I'd go for those other two. But if you go on defensive midfielder for the way that Barcelona team played, like Busquets is one of one.
Last word to you, Sid.
Yeah, I mean, normally when you do a bench drop start question, it's really, really difficult. To be honest, and I say this with a huge amount of respect for the other two, this doesn't seem very difficult to me. I think this is a relatively clear one of these, and it is Busquets on the pitch, Rodri on the bench, and N'Golo Kante left out.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. As always, ESPN FC with you throughout the summer. Every single day we're here. What a treat for everyone involved. Be sure to join us tomorrow for the next edition of the show.